I'll be surprised if Ten Hag is our manager next season.
Say that. He said, I want my team to be the best transition team in world football. Why would you sign Anthony for 100 million?
Well, never in my lifetime did I ever think I'd see like a trophy baron spell like this.
You can't transform a football club with the same players.
As minority investors, push back to the Glazers and say, we will sue you.
It's a non-negotiable. There's not a more important thing than the Glazers giving full control of this football club to someone else.
Listen, our kids and stuff, they're going to be City, bro.
My biggest issue with Eric Ten Hag is...
You're Fergie, man. You're Sir Alex Ferguson. You're the godfather of this.
This is what it is. Sir Jim's already in football. But that's on Ten Hag, though.
Yes. No, but
Ten Hag spoke to him in January and said,
brother,
next season I might have... And look at how it has to end for Sancho.
Yeah,
it has to end in flames.
What's going on, people? Welcome to DR Sports, man. It's the international break. It's the time to do something a little bit different because we've got the time to do it. We've got to have a little United chat. We've come to get in depth and talk about Man United on a deep level. And to do that, I've had to bring in the big hitters. I've had to bring in man like Lears. I've had to bring in man like Culture Cams.
Come on.
Yeah. The fellas are here. The fellas are in the building. And today we're going to go right back to the beginning. Obviously, everything we talk about, especially with the content that a lot of us do, is very current. It's all about now. Man United's a mess. Sack Eric Ten Hag. What's going on with Rashford? Nana's rubbish. Todd, Mason Mount. All of these things. Pause. Let's go right back to the start.
Let's do it.
Right back to the start. And I want to talk about what makes us United fans, how we started supporting this club. Obviously, you being from the States as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a very interesting story.
Definitely.
I know you've got some interesting story like how you did. We all do. So, Lears, what's your story?
A lot of people ask me this, to be honest with you, because a lot of people call me Glory Hunter. I was like, bro, the last 10 years, there's no glory to be hunting.
Glory.
But my story starts with my dad, to be honest with you. My dad grew up in a village in Algeria where, of course, everyone supports the local team. It's called JS Kabylie, but also like they have a team in Europe. And this is like kind of the time period where Liverpool were dominating everything, both in England and in Europe. And I don't know, for some reason, my dad wanted to be different. And he started just like, oh, everyone's a Liverpool fan. Let me like say I'm a United fan. And Brian Robson was also there at the time too. Like that was a player that he kind of identified with. But I wouldn't say he was like a massive United fan at that point because also in Algeria, like how much access do they have to the TV and stuff like that? Not too much, a lot of radio. He then moved on to Canada. He ended up going to school there and that's where he had me. And at this time, Sir Alex has been here for a few seasons. He has access to like TV, watches more and more. But the one that kind of like got him hooked on Man United. Like when I say hooked, my dad is like the biggest Man United fanatic I've ever met in my life. Like if you see the text that he sends me on match days, it's like paragraphs.
Yeah, so he's invested. He's
what is he still doing? Blah, 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 blah. But the guy who got him hooked on Man United was Eric Cantona. Like hooked, bro. Hooked. Like when you talk about my dad's like the guys that my dad looks up to, the collar, the maverick, the personality, like that got my dad like obsessed with United. And from there, like my dad doesn't miss a game. Like every single game he's there texting me, like losing his shit at the TV. And then obviously when he had me, I didn't get into football, I would say, until I was like 7, 8 years old. Like, in fact, my dad, he used to always tell me, like, you weren't interested whatsoever. But, like, around that time period, 8, 9, I just started watching games with him every single weekend.
Who's your favorite player?
When I was, it changes,
Who
right?
you most identify with?
Me, I played midfield. Like, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the fastest or whatever. And the guy that I watched on the TV, and I was like, how the hell is he doing what he's doing, is Paul Scholes. I mean, the guy is just an absolute genius. But that time period, I mean, you look at the players we had. Ronaldo, of course. Any kid growing up in that time period, you see the skills, the moves. Ronaldo, Rooney. I always used to love Nemanja Vidic too, just in terms of like pure ferocity. Like I'd put my head through anything to get to that ball. It's Nemanja Vidic. So there's so many great players, and that's just how it kind of started. My dad growing up in Algeria to all the way where I am now in the UK.
It's an interesting story, bro.
It's an
interesting story. What say you then? Where's this come from?
So,
you just jumped on late when
nah,
you were good, or
no. So obviously with me, growing up, I'm like the youngest in my family. Like from our generation, should I say? Obviously now you got younger family members and stuff, but growing up when it was the core foundation of our family, I was the baby of the house. You know what I mean? So I've always kind of been well above my age, if you get what I'm saying, mentally. So when I was even like a young kid, my brother supports Chelsea, my cousin supports Chelsea, my other cousin supports Arsenal, my dad supports Spurs or whatever. But I've always, I'm a weird kind of guy, yeah.
Wants to go against the grain.
I've always been against the grain, bro. Always, like, no matter what it is. If it's wrestling and everyone is supporting The Rock, I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. If it's Shawn Michael, I'm Triple H.
He's such a politician, man.
Same with boxing. If
Dragon Ball
for
Z,
Mike Tyson or something, you're going for something.
Dragon Ball Z, everyone's Goku, I'm Vegeta. Do you know what I mean? I've always been like that. So my brother supported Chelsea, as I said, all this type of stuff. So I was always into football, though, like watching football with him. And it was the Chelsea that was kind of the team that I follow. Not follow, support, but just follow because he's always watching it and stuff. And that was, I'm talking about like Torian Flo, Zola. I'm talking about them
Dennis
days,
Wise.
bro. I'm talking about them days, like old school days, real old school Chelsea. He'll have all the kits and stuff. His favorite player was Good Johnson. You know how it goes, right? The real old school.
Being against the grain, it runs in the family.
Real old school, And then we moved to America. My family, we all moved to America, and I completely dropped football after that. You know what I mean? I only used to go and watch my brother play football, like at his high school and all that type of stuff. So he's the only kind of link that I had to football. My brother, just watching him play. But I was as I said, I was an NBA fan. You know what I mean? Again, my whole family, and this is the era. You might know it. Actually, no, you used to be.
They were all Lakers, so I just went Clippers.
No, not even that. They were all Lakers. I was a Sacramento Kings, bro. Remember the Kings 0-1 versus Shaquille O'Neal's and Kobe's thing. I was Sacramento.
Chris Webber and that.
Yeah, bro, man walked in, I'm telling you, everyone in my family, I remember watching the NBA finals. Everybody was in the Lakers jersey. I was like, no, I'm not wearing no Lakers jersey. Obviously, you didn't have access to a Sacramento jersey. You know what I mean? So I'm just sitting there in my normal t-shirt. Everyone's in the Lakers. I'm hating. Obviously, the Lakers did their thing. They win. So anyway, we come back to the UK. And as I said, my family, my brother, my family support other teams. So I'm kind of like, I don't really want to support their team. And these times, it was 01-02 season. So Arsenal were doing well, but United were leading at the time, but we ended up kind of bottling it. Arsenal doing well. Henry was the guy, blah, blah. But every time I go to my cousin's house, he'll have like a Henry poster and stuff. He'll walk in and literally, you know how you beat your chest with Cantona? When I get in there, he'll be like, on the wall, like, that's the guy. You know what I mean? Because everyone knew I was trying to find the team in a way. But anyway, the school that I joined, literally, like, my best friend was a United fan. And he was just like, yeah, you need to support United, da-da-da. He would be that that he would walk in, he'll have his school shirt, but he'll have a United
shirt. He's Superman.
Some nerd, bro, you know what I mean?
So many people used to do that one, you know?
So he was doing all of that. Jeez. So I was like, all right, okay, cool. All right, cool. Let me just see what United are about. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And bro, Liaz knows how I talk about this guy, bro.
Yeah.
Rude Van
loves
this
guy, man.
I'm telling you now, I'm going to meet this guy one day and tell him what he's done for my life, bro. That guy, like, no footballer has changed my life because obviously, you know, you're already a football fan. This guy changed my life because he basically put me into football. Do you know what I mean? Properly. Van Nistelrooy, I was just like, yo, this guy, bro, just goals, and obviously the Rude, and then we're coming into school, and I got now the United top. I don't know if anyone's seen my birthday post that I put on my Instagram. You can go and check. This ain't no cap. This is me in a Van Nistelrooy top back then, that old school kit that has in the middle there. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, Van Nistelrooy, obviously friends' influences and stuff, and outside experiences got me into Man United. And as I said, yeah, man, like, I remember in the 02-03 season when we did win the title back from Arsenal, because now that I support United, my cousin's rubbing it in every single day.
Of course, like, it's their time.
Yeah, we won at Old Trafford. And what was that? What did he? Fantastic! Vieira said, my cousin will always be saying that. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But in that next season, I remember, I think Van Nistelrooy, final game of the season, was it? Hat-trick against Charlton, maybe it was. And then I think it was David Beckham jumping on his back. It was just iconic moments, you know what I mean? And just the rest is history.
You know what's crazy, the rest is history. Right? I never watched Van Nistelrooy. I started watching 06. So like I missed it right when all I've ever known in terms of growing up, the 06, 07 is the first year. We won the league. Next season, 07, 08, we won it 2 in a row. 07, 08 as well, we won the Champions League. 08, 09, we won the league again, 3-peat. 09, 10, we lost on the last game of the season by a point. 10, 11, we won the league, go to the Champions League final. 11, 12, we lost on goal difference. 12, 13, we won the league, and this is Van Persie. You talk about players that love Van Persie. Oh my goodness, man. So that's the first 6 years, basically, that I've started watching football in Man United.
Pure trophy.
My team is the best in the world for like the first half of it, and we're the best in England by a mile the second half.
And it was just that period before you started as well.
Exactly.
But my situation is different because obviously, as I said, I supported Man United from 01-02. So now you got Arsenal in it. Then Man United reclaim it.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal go invincible, and that's when you're really in school and really.
And Chelsea got it twice
and
after
then
that.
Chelsea got it twice, but I'm telling you lot now, when Chelsea came through, I remember this so clearly, bro. I was at church, bro. It was a Chelsea United game. Obviously, there was the whole noise about Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
Came through. Then Idoko Johnson scores the winner, 1-0. I believe it was at Stamford Bridge. The little flick over the top of the goalkeeper, I remember being like, wow, because now my brother's hype. Remember, my brother's never been hype, bro. His team has never really been like that. Now my brother is hype. So every single day, like Chelsea, this machine, it was going crazy. Then they done back to back. And I'm thinking, damn, what is going on? And then 06-07, they signed Michael Ballack. They signed Shevchenko. Ashley Coles and stuff.
And we just lost Ruud.
We just lost my favorite player. I literally said to my brother, I don't think I'm ever going to see a title again. This is what I was saying. I don't think so. But God had plans for me.
Same season.
Ronaldo, Rooney. But so honestly, man.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean,
what about you?
For me, I feel like I'm a lot older than you lot saying that. I started supporting United in 95, 96.
Damn.
95, 96.
You could have told me any year I was going to say that.
When Liaz is like, 06, I'm going.
06 is mad.
But I wasn't even in school in 06, bro. I left school in 04. So I'm like, it's crazy to me. But I didn't get into football, so my mum tells me, till I was about 6 or 7. And I used to live in Wembley, right at the back of Wembley Stadium in the flats. So when Euro 96 was on, in 95, 96 season, I could hear all the games. And my mum said that's when I really got into football, watching. I was glued to the TV. So because I started being glued to the TV, my mum bought me a video, VHS, and it just happened to be, she wanted to get me a football video because she knew I was into it. So she bought me a rerun of the season before. And that happened to be when when Blackburn picked Man United to the title, and won it in, I think it was 94. Let me double check. 94, 95. So they won it in 95. And I remember watching that video of the rerun, and I saw Eric Cantona, bro. Eric Cantona fly kicked the fan at Crystal Palace, bro. I probably saw him for the wrong reasons, and I went, oh my, he's immortal. He's immortal, bro. He's in a stadium with all them fans. He's been sent off. His head's gone. Someone's chucked it to him down the sideline. Selhurst Park as well, rough area. He's gone, what you think because I played for Man United, I won't kick you in your head? I'll fly kick you. And he did. And then they're trying to get him off. And then I was like, then he rode the bird, came back. When he comes back,
King Eric is back.
Looking around, scoring big goals against Liverpool and all that. Like, I'm going, I support this team. I support this team. And obviously in that season, Andy Cole had a phenomenal season. He was scoring goals for fun. You had the likes of obviously Paul, the class of 92 were coming through, who was there. Then Andre Kanchelskis was there. Lee Sharp was still doing his little dance and thing. Do you know what I mean? Paul Ince was still there. It was ridiculous. Mark Hughes. So it was like, I just got accustomed to these players. And then obviously I was watching a rerun of that season. Meanwhile, in real life, we won it. You see what I'm saying? I was like, oh yeah, so we avenged that. So this is my team. So I just went from there, and then mid-90s, man, all the way through. I don't even. You guys have touched on pretty much every bit. So that's my story, and actually just my family. My dad supports Liverpool.
Really?
My uncles, some are Liverpool, some are Arsenal.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like obviously there's the whole London United fan. Which obviously true. There's Man United have lots of fans in London and stuff, but obviously it depends on generation and stuff. But when I was in school, like early days, now secondary school, there was United fans everywhere and stuff. But very early, bro, people were Liverpool fans, bro.
Loads.
People obviously Arsenal, Chelsea, that's normal. But Liverpool, bro, when I was growing up, I had bare fans then.
And they didn't win nothing then.
No, they didn't.
You know
but obviously that's still stemming from obviously the 80s down to their parents and all this type of stuff. But obviously then it starts getting filtered to Man United. But it's the same thing that's going to happen now. Listen, our kids and stuff, they're going to be City, bro.
100%. Because they're the most successful teams in this period. And like my family, a lot of like, as a Caribbean, like Jamaican especially, John Barnes, bro. Very fish, John Barnes. That's why I support Liverpool. A man would say, listen, Yardman would say, listen, John Barnes, I don't know what it is. The Asian boys all supported Liverpool. Liverpool as well.
I don't know what that tie is as well, but all the Asian boys supported Liverpool, bro. It was
like that in school. In terms of content, Talk to me about the pros and cons about making content about Man United.
I mean, the pros are that you get to talk about your team. And I mean, that's a blessing, to be honest with you. No matter how difficult it is these days, I mean, the fact that we have an audience and like get the chance to speak about our club is a blessing, no doubt about it. The cons, though, I'll tell you the biggest one. And like I remember even when I was in New York, right? Like when I was doing content in my basement on YouTube for like an audience of 100, like nobody basically. I think I remember telling my dad, I was like, I don't think I can ever be a Man United content creator to that size, like where I can only cover United. Like right now I do a lot of content about all clubs. And the reason is I think I'm just too emotional about them. I think every club that I speak about, bar United, I'm able to give like reasoning, objectivity, like I speak about them in a certain way. But with United, it's such a passion towards them. When I watch games, I don't look at them the same way as any other club. And it comes off, sometimes I'm like over emotional. Sometimes I don't have a filter when I speak about them. It probably stops me from having bigger opportunities with the club. I would say that's probably the biggest con. I'm such a supporter compared to any other club that I'm not able to kind of just like bring myself down to earth and speak about them in a nuanced way that people probably want to hear when it comes to United fans.
Yeah, I was the pro. With me, I'd say a pro. Again, as you mentioned, you're talking about one of the biggest clubs. So naturally, you know, you get a lot of love as well, you know, because you support Man United. I walk the street, you get love, you know, oh, my United, blah, 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 my boy, blah, blah, blah. So representing, as much as we say we don't represent United or whatever, people do start see you as a representative. You know what I mean? People say, yo, you say exactly what I think, bro. Yeah. So representing people in a way is pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's why we always try we try our hardest not to swear. We try our hardest not to be blasphemous or abuse people. Nobody can find any content of me fully calling abusing players.
I always try and say don't bring it like personal.
Don't get personal. 100%. So I'm like that. But obviously the con is naturally, again, there's pros and cons to it. If you're supporting the biggest clubs, you get hate, you get a da-da-da. But that's never really bothered me. Everybody knows I've never really cared about that stuff. But it can be annoying a little bit. But then there's the con as well. Is for me in a similar way to Leah's, right? When you're talking about Man United, when people say keep the same energy for this player that you do. So let's say, for example, I like Jack Grealish because people always say whatever. So Jack Grealish, they'll be like, oh, you don't mind him not getting goal and assist, but you're onto Anthony, let's say. Bro, does he play for my team, bro? Yeah. I don't care what he's doing at Man City. I don't care. How can I keep the same energy? You know what I'm trying to say? When you're focusing on your team, you want your team to win. His team are winning. They like what he's doing over there. My team are not winning. So naturally, you have that kind of over-emotional state to yourself. So I've removed myself a little bit from that, like kind of taking a step back. I used to do United content on my channel. I don't do United content on my channel no more because I don't have the energy and time to be going up on there. Yeah, bro. Like, honestly, and I rate everybody that does it, but I don't have the energy and time, to be going up on there and shouting about Manchester United. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Or I also have I think people appreciate, you know, when you're able to give balanced views or you're able to give different takes to situations.
On all football.
I was finding myself repeating myself every episode. Do you know what I mean? I'll go up on there. Oh yeah, I want Luke Shaw he's been here 9 years. Cool. All right, yeah. Then I feel like I'm saying the same thing 24/7.
Why did you have to start with Luke Shaw though? You know what I mean?
It's uncomfortable.
This is why, bro. Listen, if you want to start a Man United channel,
like,
bro.
Yeah, I feel like I'm saying the same thing. Rashford, this and Martial, how's he still here? And bro, so after a while, I'm just like, listen, let me find a way to do it balanced. We got our podcasts and stuff where it's not as, you know what I mean. So
well, on that then, the moment it all started going bad for Man United, like you look at the last 10 years and where we're at. What is there a glimmer of hope now in terms of Sir Jim trying to come in and restructure things? Where do you put it down to in terms of where we've been in the last 10 years, the players that have come through the club that you almost forget what's actually stepped through our club in excess of 1.2, 1.3 billion pounds worth of players since Sir Alex has
that
gone.
number is crazy. I don't think people really deep like how much money that is, bro.
It's insane versus all of the changes that need to happen at the club. What do we need to do now? How do you feel when you watch us now? All of these types of things.
I mean, you say 10 years. I think it started way before that. I mean, you can obviously pinpoint the moment the Glazers got full ownership of the club, but I just remember the summer of 2009 when we had just sold Cristiano Ronaldo
and Tevez
for, I think, what was
City
it?
as well.
Or Tevez, I don't think we got anything back, right? It was like a loan. It was kind of weird how that worked with the agency. But Ronaldo, we just got a world record fee for, if not the best player in the world, a top 2 player. Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And you think, okay, you hear the names you were linked to that summer, Benzema, Ribéry, like, okay, we're united. We just signed Berbatov the last summer. We beat City to him. We're just going to continue getting stronger and stronger. We're just going to, that's what the best teams do. And I see Michael Owen, basically 31-year-old Michael Owen on a pay-as-you-play contract come in. I saw Antonio Valencia, who, to be fair, was a great servant for the club, but it's a winger from Wigan that we're getting here. And Obertan, some bald guy from France. Yeah. And I'm thinking...
Obertan one was crazy.
I'm thinking, okay, Fergie, you must have something planned for me here. Like, you're Fergie, man. You're Sir Alex Ferguson. You're the godfather of this. You have something bigger planned here. And I'm seeing Tevez, by the way, go to our rivals. And I'm seeing Chelsea now. They have this great team. Okay, the next season. And I'm seeing City get Yaya Toure and David Silva. I'm seeing Chelsea sign Fernando Torres. I'm seeing Liverpool sign Suarez. Chelsea, a few years later, get Hazard. We got Chicharito. We got Chris Smalling. We got Phil Jones. And Sir Alex is so great, right, that he's still making it work. Like, he's still, I always say he makes wine out of sewage water, basically. But then again, while he's building these teams of like pretty average players on an individual, like,
because that was his strength as well. So
he can basically raise the ceiling of average players to like league winning. Cleverly and Anderson in midfield, Jones and Smalling in the back, Welbeck and Chicharito up front.
Gibson was getting games,
but
bro.
Gibson, right? And
Nick Powell in that.
All this is happening, but while our rivals are strengthening, and like no one really wants to believe that Sir Alex is going to retire one day. It's like, oh, this is just going to continue for the rest of our lives. The day he retires, you look at the team he leaves behind. No manager on earth, and okay, we hired David Moyes, and that's like a massive downgrade. But it doesn't matter who we hired at that point. The squad that we had basically left behind for the next, it was an average squad. Yeah. And meanwhile, all these other clubs are strengthening. So I feel like we just kind of all believe that like this never-ending fairy tale was never going to end. The minute it kind of ended, you're left with this nasty hangover.
Cam, would any of the managers that we've had post Sir Alex, have been able to get us back to the top with the right board and the right structure?
100%. I said it.
And if so, who?
I say it time and time again. We should have appointed Jose Mourinho straight away.
Straight after Sir Alex,
straight
innit?
after Sir Alex. Yeah. Jose Mourinho wanted that job.
It was too late after.
Sir Alex Ferguson hiring Moyes is a massive issue. You know what I mean? And that was a very kind of
naive,
egotistical appointment as well. You know what I mean? Like, my little bro. You know what I mean? He's a bit like me. You know what I mean? In his principles and stuff. Let him come and do it. I came from Aberdeen where I was a hustler. He came from Everton where he's hustling. Let's get my boy in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Jose Mourinho is the only person. Of course, there's Pep Guardiola as well. But Pep Guardiola would have basically tried to reinvent this football club in a way with his style. You know what I mean? I don't know if United fans would have been prepared for that at that period because we had just come off Ferguson. I think Jose Mourinho would have walked in there and he's the only one that would have looked at the fans and been like, yeah, I'm just as big as you. This club, yeah, I belong here. Do you know what I mean? And this is when he was in the peak of his powers as well. You know what I'm trying to say? So he went obviously later on and won leagues at Chelsea still. So I think Jose Mourinho should have been the one that should have appointed straight away, right?
He was crying for this job.
He was crying for the job.
That version of Jose was the one.
Was the one. He's the personality. But the major thing that people don't talk about often enough as well is we lost David Gill at the same time, right? Now, David Gill, he's had his mess ups, by the way. People seem to think Gill was perfect. Gill wasn't perfect. Like, you know, there were some deals that we should have got over the line and we didn't get over the line. Do you know what I mean? Under David Gill. But I would love to kind of know why those two thought it would be wise to leave together. Do you know what I mean? I think, like, no, I'm not trying to blame Fergie. But I think one of them should have stayed. You know what I mean? If Gill goes, Fergie, you do one more season and lay a blueprint, proper plan with Ed Woodward, who just came in, and see what's going on. Or David Gill, you stay. You tell Ed Woodward, you're coming in 2 seasons. I'm going to do 2 more years. We're going to get the Fergie successor. We're going to map this out. And this is what we're going to do. All right, I've left it brilliantly. Bye. For our 2 figureheads.
There was too much change too quick.
Our 2 figureheads to leave and then bring in 2 inexperienced at that level people in Ed Woodward, who's going to have to come in, new contact book, build his relations.
About that. Ed Woodward has never been a football man. We replaced David Gill with a banker.
There we go. And then
same with Richard Arnold. They all went to Bristol University together, bro.
And then you bring in David Moyes, right? Who I still say he was set up to fail. I have no animosity to Moyes. I love Moyes.
Look at that window he had.
He was set up to fail.
It was a disgrace.
He came in, with a guy that has no contacts. He's trying to find his way around the game. And basically got told, sign someone from your old team, basically, in Fellaini. He wanted Gareth
Bale. He wanted Fellaini, by the way, a month earlier when we could have signed him for 25 million. Because we waited a month and panicked, we signed him for 28.
And then you think about it.
That's still going on now.
And you think about it. Toni Kroos has come out and said it himself. I was going to join Man United if Moyes stayed. Yeah. LVG was the one that said he does not want him. So, listen, I'm not going to say Moyes was going to do a madness, but he was set up to fail. The guy after Ferguson was... most likely, unless for me you were Jose Pep, was going to fail.
They had to be elite.
It's the same way. It's the same way. We all saying Unai Emery is a great manager, right? He was going to fail after Wenger. Yeah. You can't have somebody in charge for 20 plus years. I think the next guy just going to walk in and you've got to be a generational coach.
Klopp as well, too. I put him in that, like, in terms of guys who could have come in after Fergie and maybe.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because I look at what he did with Liverpool, bro. Like he's a club builder.
But he gave them.
But I just think in terms of like the profile of manager you're talking about, somebody who can come in and like he changes the football club around his image. I really think that's what United needed. Like, just thinking that, because Moyes is kind of the same, like, manner of me, he can just come in and like continue it. It was wrong.
As soon as I remember, I was in my college, right? I was in the gym in college, laying down, doing some stretches or whatever. And I just see on the Sky Sports board, David Moyes appointed. Listen, I'm going to sound like LeBron right now, right?
I knew that.
Sogs! Bro, I'm going to sound like LeBron. I literally said to my boy, yo, we might not win the league for 10 years, you know?
Yeah, straight away.
My boy can vouch for this, yeah? I said, we might not win the league for 10 years. I can't, but you know, but you're saying it in tongue Here we are. Easy. I never in my lifetime, bro. Never in my lifetime did I ever think I'd see like a trophy baron spell like this. I didn't. It's already been 10 years, so it can easily be another 10 years. It can be.
And with where the club's positioned currently behind the teams that are above us and doing better than us, we probably are about 10 years behind them. But as Ralph Ragnick said, with the right things being appointed and the right things being done, it doesn't have to take 10 years, but the way this club operates and the way this club moves feels like it does. I wanted to touch on like the decision making going forward now, because Richard Arnold's left. That's a huge bit of the football club that's gone. Bad bit of the football club in terms of being part of all of these bad decisions, all of these harbored views of how to run the football club in the direction it should go in. He was part of that alongside Ed Woodward, alongside John Murtough, who looks like he's going to be leaving as well. What I want to ask now is like, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in, look, we all wanted Full Sail. Did you want Full Sail?
Of course.
Did you want Full Sail? Did you want Qatar?
Of course.
Did you want Qatar?
Of course.
Most Man United fans want Qatar. Can't talk for everyone, because some people did say, look, we don't need all the money in the world. We just need someone who gets it and understands what to do. Which is true. We don't need the sugar daddy, which is true. But I think most people with what Qatar were putting down, it's a full buyout. Yeah. The debt's gone.
Obviously, you look at City, the neighbours.
Do you know what I mean? This is going to be the quickest way to do that. Yeah. Not this might come in and buy a chipper away at it and only put 200 million to the stadium and this, that and the other when the roof's leaking and that. But what needs to happen in the next 2 years at Man United, and do we as fans, which we don't like lowering our bar and accepting mediocrity, just look where we are, but how much patience do we need to have with the change that's about to come, or is it not even that really significant? How do you see it?
I think fans definitely need to lower their expectations.
I disagree.
No, I think they do, to be honest with you. Like, I think like all these quick changes that fans keep wanting to do in the board, and like they do it in like Casemiro, Varane, like, we can just like buy world-class. Like, I honestly think United needs to pull the weeds out completely, build a new team that might might go a year or a year and a half or maybe even 2 seasons like struggling, but like trying to build an identity together to do that. But I always said, right, at United, you just need the best in class in terms of like those hierarchy positions, sporting director, director of football, CEO, all of that. You need the best in class who have a proven track record of finding young players that are potentially like world beaters, finding people that can like hire the right. You need the best in class, like John Murtough, Ed Woodward, these guys who are bankers or have worked at Norwich or like that's not going to do it at a club of this standard. So level. If Jim Ratcliffe, for example, we're hearing rumors of what is his name, Claude Van Blanc or whatever his name is,
Jean-Claude
Blanc, him or Paul Mitchell. Like when you see their resumes at clubs that they've done it at before, That's for me encouraging.
You can get behind that, yeah.
Absolutely. But if it's going to be another case now of like, okay, I'm going to hire my friend or this guy who helped me get the club.
It was
like,
jobs for mates before, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then look, you can buy I always say you can buy all of the nice furniture in a house. Like you can buy a nice flat screen TV, 70-inch. You can buy a nice fridge or whatever. If the foundation of the house is rotten to the core, it doesn't matter, bro. Yeah. It's all going to collapse anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, why do you disagree that we should lower our standards?
I don't think you should ever lower your standard. Now, when I say, do I think we're going to win the Premier League and stuff? Okay, of course not.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm not saying, oh, tomorrow, title charge. No, I'm not saying that. But when I say low expectations, I don't think we need to have seasons when we're 9th, 8th while this is turning around. You can still be a competitive team to the point where, okay, what's competitive for us at the moment? Top 4, yeah? You can still maintain that level, bro. You can still maintain that level. But what needs to be done, as Leah said, is you have to work on your foundations. The most important thing is working on your foundations. So with Leah said, perfect word was best in class, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything about Claude Blanc, right? I don't. I've done a little bit of research on him. I saw he did marketing at PSG, helped them with them, you know,
help Juventus
PSG are one
of the
most glamorous clubs in the game right now. I saw he helped Juventus. He was the one that oversaw Juventus transforming from their old stadium, which I always forget what their old stadium was called. That's it, to the new Juventus stadium, right?
When they got relegated to
that's
get
what I was
back.
about to say. He went to Juventus when they were in the mud, in the trenches, bro, in the Serie B.
He did bring them back.
And he helped transform them to be what they are today.
Proper resume.
That's somebody that he's going to walk in and he can open his book and Florentino Perez is on that contact sheet. This person's on that. Woodward came in and they don't know him. Bro, they don't know him. You have to look at what Todd Boehly did. Todd Boehly had to go and literally have meetings with every CEO of top football clubs in the world. Because he's like, I want to get contacts up. This is who I am. I'm the new Chelsea owner. This is, I mean? So this is what it is. Sir Jim's already in football. I'm sure he's a rich, wealthy man. A lot of people talk about him. We disrespect him because we went to Qatar and stuff. But he's a successful businessman. He'll have contacts. He'll know what he's doing. So I'm not going to say Man United are going to be transformed or anything like that. But you have to give people a chance. In life, don't be ignorant. You know what I mean? You got to give people a chance. If he is coming in and saying, I want to bring in a football structure.
Especially because he's making changes
immediately
that we wanted to see.
To things that we wanted to see. We wanted Richard Arnold. We wanted John Murtough out because we're not liking what's going on. Now, do you know what the next step is? You see them players? Get to work, bro.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Let's talk about that. I want to talk about that, yeah. I know, you know the whole names, yeah? If you're looking at that squad and their players... Yeah, like if you think that, yeah. What are you lot saying with the squad then? Because Leah's, what like for you? All right, let me ask you this question: who in our current squad could be part of a really successful Man United team in the future with new things happening?
When you say apart, do you mean key, or do you mean can they just be in a successful
I mean
football
everything.
club?
I mean can be here, can play games, can be relied upon, can help be part of Man United returning to the top.
I think there's a few, of course, right? Like we're what, top 4, on the verge of being a top 4 team already. So like, let's not pretend that the whole squad now is like relegation level. Like I like some of the signings that we've made the last few seasons, like Cam Nose, for example. I love Lisandro Martinez. I think he can be a part of a successful team going forward. Like there's definitely players there.
There's one.
Yeah, I mean,
Martinez.
if I'm trying to think of the squad that we have right now. Højlund definitely. I think Højlund is of the profile, right? Like, let's not just assume he's going to be Haaland in a few seasons, but I look at the physical tools, I look at the mentality. Under a good coach in a healthy environment, that can be a top forward.
Can Marcus Rashford?
You like Luke Shaw?
Yeah, but Luke Shaw as well too, right? Like if we're going to talk about we need a new identity and we need new standards and we're trying to build a successful football club, like he's got to up his levels as well too. So in terms of like the qualities that the players possess, like Rashford, for example, when you look at him in isolation as a player, then yeah, in theory, he should be part of a successful team. But how long are we going to kind of wait for these guys to get to the level that we want to get to? Now, of course, they're victims as well of the bad environment that we've created as a club, but we can't also keep just like hoping that 25, 26, 27-year-old Luke Shaw, Rashford, Bruno.
Can Bruno?
I have my doubts. I have major doubts. So, I mean, you can do that with every single individual player, and I don't think it's really fair to like look at each one of them because I think they're a team at the end of the day. The team hasn't been good enough. So when we have that healthy environment, I think maybe you realize.
So can we get more out of this team? This team with these players, I'm including Mason Mount, even though we don't know what the direction is.
Yeah, Mount's another one, for example, too.
So with this team, with proper structure and guidance, and sprinkle some more on top and get rid of some,
Yeah.
there's no longevity in Varane, there's no longevity in Casemiro.
Yeah.
Maguire's got to go. Eventually, Evans is a joke thing. Like, the problems we need to sort as well, but there's still a nucleus there. Can something happen?
What's important, right, is that we don't know, like, are we saying this are we going to be successful under Ten Hag, right? So then you have a different image. If it's a new coach,
that's exactly
he
anything's
might,
possible.
This new coach might be like, I know it sounds mad, but this new coach could turn around one day and just be like, I see you Mason Mount as a wing back. And all of a sudden, he's an amazing wing back. You just don't know. You have no idea. So we can't really do that if you get where I'm coming from. But in terms of, can you repeat your question again?
Basically, can the players that we have now be part of a
few of
successful
them.
Man
Look,
United?
the thing is, I think you potentially can. You know what I mean? With a few players, and it really depends again on the manager's identity. You know what I mean? Or the manager that, if it's not Ten Hag, that comes in and what he sees out of these players. But you got to remember, when Klopp overhauled Liverpool, how many did he keep? Jordan Henderson.
Was Milner there?
Milner.
No?
Yeah, Milner.
Who did he keep?
I mean, Chan was there for a few seasons.
Lucas there for a little bit.
But I'm talking about when Liverpool became
not so much.
Liverpool. Let's say not Champions League final season in the first one. Let's say 18-19. When Liverpool became that team, who did he keep? That
Players
was from
did.
there for a little bit.
Who
then
was
he
it?
went.
No, Sturridge left in.
Sturridge. Yeah, Sturridge, but he was basically like
but
a
he
squad
didn't
player.
fancy him as soon as
So listen,
Lovren was in and around the team. I think he was
you
a Brendan
can't
Rodgers
transform a
Klein,
football
then you got rid
club.
of him.
Yeah.
You cannot transform, and this is what people need to understand. You can't transform a football club with the same players.
No, definitely not.
You can't. Tell me when it's been done. Transform. I said the word transform. I didn't say
You can get better
come
results
in
for a
and
little
help
bit.
us. Bro, you can't transform. Pep has transformed City, by the way, even though they were good before. He had some of the same players, but every year one might be going. One Yaya, company, thanks for your services. One is going eventually while he's adding. You cannot transform a football. Jose Mourinho, when he came to Chelsea, he signed 7 man. Boom. You can't keep the same players. So all of this attachment that United fans have to Shaw, to Martial, to Rashford, to Bruno. I'm sorry, lads. You guys have been part of a failing Manchester United team.
And they've been, and that's the thing, right? What I want to add to that, they've been the core of a failing Man United team. So when you ask this question, can they be part of a successful team? Yes, they can, but they cannot be the core of a successful Man United team.
How do you, if you've been, and this is where I sympathize with them a little bit. If you've been, some of them have been here 9 years, some 8 years, whatever. If you've been failing, at your objective, which I know people are going to say top 4. Some people would love to finish in the top 4, but this is Man United.
It's not the objective.
If you've been failing for your objective for 8 years, how can somebody just come in and basically just be like,
get you to be different?
They
can't
change. So that's why
it's systemic.
That's why we do see, sure, woo, what season, sure, Barto, woo. Then next season you're like, Rashford, oh my goodness, like. Then it's back to type, revert to type. Because do you know why? It's habit. How long does it take for you to change habit? It takes a long time. So that's why you need to come and rip it apart. The problem with Man United is, the wages. It's the wages. We tie ourselves into tough situations. Because again, I'm going to say about Rashford, right? You asked the question, can he be part of? Do you know what the answer is? He has to be. He has to be.
Same with Sancho when he came. He had to be.
And look at how it has to end for Sancho.
Yeah,
it has to end in flames, bro. We couldn't just, Sancho, thanks you. Get out of the back.
This is why
it has to be.
He has
never
to
come to the training ground again, bro.
It's all. Only Man United create these type of situations, and this is what I mean.
And you're not
going
to do that with Rashford.
No.
So he has to be. No, there's no yes or no. He has to be our starting left winger in a successful team because he's
you put everything on it. You put everything on it.
But you say that
before.
This is why I'm saying, like, I look at the way other clubs have kind of like rebuilt themselves. Let's look at Arsenal. Obviously, they aren't at like the Liverpool City, but like they're in the process of slowly becoming a top
competitive
team
now.
They had to make uncomfortable decisions, right? You talk about like Rashford on these wages that he's on yet. Aubameyang was a similar situation, and they basically just like cut their losses. The problem with United as well too is how often are they willing to do that? Like, remember last season, I was even saying Sancho for me doesn't have a place in this United team. I'd get rid of him. And you were telling me like we're not going to get rid of him because these guys, like, United just has to be willing to like I said, rip the roots out. Start from scratch. Like, there's going to be players that they take massive losses on, but they're going to have to do it. And they're not going to be able to go into the market and sign a Casemiro for a year or two. You need to basically sign players of a similar age at a similar wage with a window together that can grow together.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a long-term process in terms of that.
And there is going to be moments. You're mentioning Arsenal, and I don't want to use Arsenal as the barometer for they don't want anything, but they had Saka come through. They had Emil Smith-Rowe. People forget Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka had major reason why Arteta's still here. They went crazy when it was looking very sticky for Arteta. They kept that man in the job. Maybe we might be wrong. Edu and Arsenal crunkies might have always wanted to keep Arteta, but we're not. We're outside looking.
But they gave him the results at that time.
So you're going to need some academy players. You're going to need people that are always on the same kind of wave. The important thing is, and this is where I'm watching Sir Jim as well, is he prepared to do that? If he comes in and says, all right, this person, you can go Saudi, you can go Saudi, you can go to, if you want to go Barcelona, all right, bye. Whatever.
That's what needs to happen.
If he does that, he's got my 100% full support, because this is when I said, let's look at the players. Now, we don't know what he's going to do with the manager. I personally think every new CEO, owner will want their own man.
Definitely.
Eventually, as a minimum.
I personally think I'll be surprised if Ten Hag is our manager next season. Only because I think a new manager, a new owner comes in, and whether that means they fall out with the manager because they don't see eye to eye on certain things. Because listen, Sir Jim has been vocal about Man United are failing.
Yeah.
I remember when he was talking about, why did Man United sign Fred and all this type of stuff, Casemiro. You remember, he's a fan. You think he's sitting there thinking, I might be wrong again, but Ten Hag is amazing. This is what I grew up on. He's not going to be thinking that.
But at the
so
same,
he might walk in and be like, brother, he might want to, when Roman used to ask, what's going on at this football club?
Yeah, and he might just change
Ten Hag might come with an answer that he doesn't like, and it could be.
It all depends on them initial. It all depends on them initial interactions.
Exactly.
And can Eric Ten Hag fall into a vision and an imagery that Sir Jim wants to set out for this football club? And also, let's just be honest, it depends on the here and now with what you've got as well. Sometimes you go through some rough periods where in 3 years we can look back and say, do you remember that week where we got smashed by City and Newcastle in one go and we thought it's over? And then all of a sudden, somehow it's been up since then in small increments. And that is the thing but with everything that's just been said, this is what I mean. Me personally, I know you say we shouldn't drop the standards too much, I think I think there's so much change coming.
What does that mean?
I'll be honest with you.
You're gonna have to firm a few. You're gonna have to firm a few bad seasons,
bro. Think that we have to go. From
I'll be honest with you.
8th. I don't think.
For me, it's not even about those.
I think there needs to be an acceptance that if you want to deep root and get rid of something, and there's going to be so much change coming in a short space of time, there has to be a trade-off of I can't expect you then in this January window to go and get X, Y, Z. John Murtaugh's still here, who's going to be on his way out. If you're trying to sign players, how on earth can you give him the power to do that? If you want to sell players in this moment, so Jim Ratcliffe's not even here yet. So any Man United fan who's like, in January, we got to do this and we got to do that. How? So already you're putting yourself at a thing where there's so much change. And with how bad we've been in isolation, like you said, hold on a minute. Don't get me wrong. This next batch of games is a real acid test. They're peak. But we're 6 points off. We're 6 points off of it's this touching distance of where we thought we was going to be.
You could either be a pessimist, right? There's people that are pessimists. I would probably say I'm naturally a pessimist, right? Or you could be an optimist, when it comes to Man United, by the way, not in life. When it comes to,
I actually flicker between the two.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't just stay at one. I'm quite a flip flop.
I understand. Bro, you're a fan, bro.
Because you're on that natural. Sometimes I think, hang on a minute. Everyone's saying get rid of Eric, but hold on. We're over. De Zerbi's got 1 win in 9, but he should come Man United. Newcastle got loads of injuries.
I hate when people pretend like it's like a crime to be emotional about your football club.
It's emotional, right? So you can pessimist. Listen, now you look at it. 6 points behind second. I don't think we're going to finish 6 points behind second.
No, we're not.
Or we're going to be. So I'm not really getting excited over that. But then at the same time, you do look at it and you think, all right, cool. Get some players back from injury. Because now all of a sudden, I'm hearing the I word everywhere. Injury. I'm like, Man United have 10. The same amount of Chelsea.
14 we've had.
Newcastle are currently the ones with the most, with 14 that are currently injured.
Every team has injuries.
Everyone's getting injuries.
But Man United have been rinsed.
We've been rinsed all season. So maybe, get people back from injury. See how it goes. Listen, I am not Eric Ten Hag out, right? I'm not Ten Hag out. I have my doubts over certain things. And what I would say my doubts is if we are saying Sir Jim needs to come in and do this and this, is Sir Jim Blanc, and let's say it's Mitchell, there's this Dave Brailsford guy, or whatever.
No.
Are we signing for what their image of what they want Manchester United to be going forward going to be? Or are we going to continue signing in what Ten Hag wants his image to be?
Correct.
So are we trying to build a football club? Or are we trying to build a football team?
Also,
so if we're trying to build a football
how
team...
flexible is Ten Hag in this? Because
this
he
is
came
what-
to this football club under John Murtough with certain assurances.
Yeah.
Hence why we've seen the type of signings.
And
Look
that's
at
my biggest
Martinez.
issue.
Oh, no.
My biggest
Amrabat.
issue...
Anthony.
My biggest
Anthony.
issue...
These are his
Yeah.
play. These are only Eric Ten Hag.
And
Man
that's,
United won't
my
go through
biggest,
such
that's
things.
my biggest issue. I think Ten Hag potentially can just... All right, it's turbulence right now. I believe he can probably just steady the ship.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Everyone calm down. All right, we're not going to win the league. All right, cool. What's going on? While we're doing all these changes. But remember, while we're doing all of this, we still have to sign. And my biggest issue, and everyone knows it, I've said it many times,
Is the signings.
I do not rate this guy's signings.
At all.
That is my problem.
I'm
I
with
do
you.
not rate it. So while we're trying to steady the ship, are we adding on? If we're adding on, then I start getting
In
like,
what way is
ooh,
it?
then,
Yeah.
I'm trying to say,
In what way is
if
it?
it's like steady the ship and
Yeah.
Kobe Mainu come through and Hansen and this and we're just adding some young players in, then I'm like, okay, cool. But if it's steady the ship, but oh yeah, by the way, Eric Ten Hag, here's another 200 million. That's when I'm like, ooh, what are we going to do there? And as I said, you got to build a football club. You can't build a football team. You build a football team, like we just mentioned, Fergie's last team. That was Fergie's team at the time. You know what I mean? The club was already, as Liaz went in the history books already, the club was already coming down. You know what I mean? 80 million, that 60 million got pocketed to the dividends, by the way. You know what I'm trying to say? So to pay back them loans. So yes, the club was already jumping, but so Fergie had his team after a while. The club was a ruins. Look what man were doing with his team after that. Bro, nothing.
How important
so
is
we
it
can't
that the
build a
Glazers-
team. You have to build a club.
How important is it that the Glazers eventually, or there is a roadmap from Sir Jim Ratcliffe to completely take them out of the equation?
Is that a trick question?
No, I just want you to say how
it's massively
it is.
important.
And why?
That's the most important thing. These guys have completely ruined this football club. You can talk about Ed Woodward, Arnold, any manager we've had, any player we've had. The core root to all of Man United's issues are the Glazers. So yeah, when you ask how important is it, there's no, in my opinion,
It's a
more
non-negotiable.
important. It's a non-negotiable. There's not a more important thing than the Glazers giving full control of this football club to someone else than that. That's
And
the most important.
every like the term it starts from the top, right? It doesn't come from nowhere. You know what I mean? Every transformation we have seen for football clubs and stuff has started from the top. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it with Real Madrid. Remember there was that period in the 80s where Real Madrid couldn't buy a Champions
in the
League, but
abyss,
they couldn't do nothing in the Champions League. Then they started winning again. Perez left. Calderon took over. It started going tits. Yeah, they won a couple league, one league in the Dutch Revolution. And then all of a sudden, no Champions Leagues again. Perez comes back in. All right, what are we going to do here? Boom. Still not working. Now I'm going to bring in my manager and Jose. Then Real Madrid started becoming what we remember.
Yeah, you
Real
can look
Madrid
at
as.
every single
So
club. City,
everywhere,
Chelsea,
City,
everyone.
Chelsea.
Even Arsenal, right? It's only until the Kroenkes took full control, if you want to say
Exactly.
that.
Off Özil.
And it's
Off
not
Özil,
even
off
only that. It's when Josh Kroenke started getting involved in the football
being
match.
more
So
hands-on, yeah.
everything starts from the top. The only one that I would say is a little bit like maybe I need to do more research on it.
Liverpool, maybe?
It is Liverpool,
Yeah, with
because
FSG, how they did it.
in their bad period they went through 3 ownerships. The original one they went Gillette and Hicks,
And then
they went
FSG.
FSG. So they were just juggling around. I don't really know how Liverpool's work. Maybe we have to give Klopp all the
But I was
credit.
just
I
about to
don't
say
know.
that,
I don't know. That's
But-
the only one where I need
it's
to maybe
never
look
just- but
into
then-
a little bit
But
more.
then where we, even if without
But then
doing
the
all the
FSG,
research,
FSG
yeah.
did hire Michael Edwards and stuff. So maybe go give
That's
them
what I was
credit.
just about to
you
say.
know,
It's never just about one man.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola would tell you that.
Checky.
It's never,
But that's my whole
Soriano.
point, right? In
Exactly.
terms of like getting
It's
full
never
ownership.
just about one man.
This is why, as well, I want to back what's his name, Jim Ratcliffe, 100%. I'm not going into he was in Qatar, so I don't rate him.
Yeah.
But I also am kind of very like let me see what happens.
Cautiously
because
optimistic.
I
You're a
absolutely
Man United fan.
No, but it's not. It's not.
Exactly. You know.
It's not even just that.
Exactly.
It's not even just that. He still only has 25% control over the club.
What's the
so his
roadmap?
hands are naturally going to be tied behind
Yeah.
his back to some capacity until, and again, like that's assuming that he's the right guy. So until he gets full control, my expectations are.
But
tempered.
it doesn't. This is where I have two sides to this. With 25%, don't you think it is mad
How
though
is
that
he getting
he is
full
being
control?
allowed to get a CEO of Manchester United Football Club? Not like just a little transfer
Yeah,
committee.
it's the
A
top guy.
CEO of Manchester United Football Club has been hired by a guy that has.
But this is
25.
why,
So
Cam,
that in a way kind of
there has to
encourages
be the
me.
roadmap,
But my only thing is, when does he put his money into the club in terms of signings, and does everything get ticked off financially by the Glazers. Now that's the only part I don't know. I'm not a businessman.
100%. Well, as soon
Probably
as
somebody
the
can
reports
answer me.
are saying that already he's putting 225 million of his own money into trying to fix up the stadium. Now, obviously, that's not really.
That might get
all
you
that's
some new
gonna
seats
be-
or something.
But how does that's what is it? How does it work? If we want to go and break the world record fee on killing Mbappe, do we go to the Glazers? And obviously you have to collaborate some way. But okay, if the Glazers, is it a situation where the Glazers say, I might be sounding crazy to finance people right now, but is it a situation where the Glazers say, all right, we're putting in 100 and Sir Jim says, all right, I'm putting in the next 75?
I don't think
how
it's
does the money...
That's what I'm
What I do
saying.
know-
That's why I'm cautious.
What I do know, spending some time with one of them minority investors, I've done a thing with Bloomberg last week.
Okay.
And it was really eye-opening. I got to,
well, in a good way or bad way?
Well, like I got to be on a panel with like a minority investor. And a host of Bloomberg who was basically asking me from a fan's perspective how we feel. And he as an investor. And he was very transparent, not in the interview, but afterwards.
Any sound bites?
Well, he said that it's very true that they, as minority investors, push back to the Glazers and say, we will sue you. If you take this deal under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, how he first wanted it, which was like the 60-something% of it, and you're going to freeze out the minority guys, and in our terms, run us RPs. You're not doing that to us. And he did also say that the Glazers have realised that the cash reserve at Man United for the turnover of players to buy players,
it's not worth it for them anymore.
It's rinsed, bro. Like in January, like I don't think people people laugh like from outside the things. Say, Man United had about Vegas and that. Bro,
we're broke.
We had to get Wout. We had to have a love triangle with Burnley and flipping Besiktas.
No, it was Al Nassr and Besiktas. That's what it was. Not even Burnley.
Bro,
because of
Ronaldo.
What's that Donny's name?
Abubakar, bro. I was thinking, hopefully Abubakar can do that. Then, and we got to a point where we had to say, please, Besiktas, man, we really need to strike a work something out with Burnley because he's there. Bro, we had to get Marcel Sabitzer on the emergency. Like. These are real things. Now, don't get me wrong.
Which is why I never add them to Ten Hag signings.
No.
I never add them.
But it was. But what I'm saying is a true indictment of where the club really is. It's real that the stadium's rotten. It's the theatre of dreams, right? It's our football club. Be honest. And we go to a lot of games. So there's people watching at home who've never been to Old Trafford, right? So this can feel like you're taking this away from them. Okay, I'll speak for me. I go to every home game and whatever, right? When I walk through the doors of Old Trafford, don't take my breath away. I don't think, wow. I don't think, I can't believe it's still my club.
But is it because we're losing?
It's not. I mean, that's obviously one part of it. Because obviously, if we were still in the league, but the roof was leaking, I'd probably be. I'll try to move
umbrella, fam.
Bro, I'll try and move my season ticket to underneath the league. So that, But if I'm being truthful, though, that is part of it. But if I'm being real, when I look at it, bro, I just think it looks tired. It looks tired.
I don't want to say it's a tired stadium. That's
I can't lie, but when I go
but
to
it is though.
I can't lie. When I went to United versus
even got
Barcelona,
screens.
I was dreaming.
Yeah, because you were dreaming in VIP.
That wasn't.
Yeah, you were in
VIP.
You was in hospitality.
No, there's the odd
Wait,
nights. There's
no,
the odd
versus
nights.
Barcelona.
Yes, you were, bro.
Was I
Yes, you were.
Hospitality is hospitality, innit? You're gonna get the
No, but
free
even
game.
hospitality, bro. You compare hospitality to any of the big. You would
not the same.
Etihad.
Hospitality that game.
Yes,
And you know when you talk about lowering standards, that's all that's doing. Because go hospitality at Spurs. Hospitality at Arsenal.
You go sit in the sky against Spurs. The
Bro,
treatment is better than hospitality.
Even go hospitality at West Ham. Like,
I've been
bro,
there.
I swear to you, I went. I went hospitality at Burnley. Bro, we done like Burnley got relegated and got new owners, new American owners. Yeah. I couldn't believe the difference of doing a tour around Burnley from when they were in the Premier League to the new time when they were in it. I went, there's LEDs everywhere. They said, and the guy said to me, he goes, our owner, they said they want it to be like Disneyland. Now we can laugh and say, Turf Moor, what the hell is this guy on? The guy wants to be like Disneyland. You know what? I went, but I can see that. They've got screens. Then we went into like their catering bit. There's a whole new refurbished. I thought, This isn't in turf more. Across there, they've got wooden seats that fold down in
We
the
only-
stands,
hold
but
on,
in
forget-
here they're upgrading.
We only just got Wi-Fi last year, guys.
probably.
We still don't
Yeah.
have.
Only just
We still have
now.
replay screens. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be able to because of the way Old Trafford is set up. Because
So-
if you get a screen, it blocks out.
So that's what I'm
whole
saying, right?
section
Like
of
you
fans.
look at Old Trafford, and again, I don't want to like crush the dreams of any
No,
person
and
who's
that's not
ever
what
been.
we're trying to
trust
do.
me, the first time I went to Old Trafford,
Yeah,
I
you would
thought-
still get that.
I literally had goosebumps on my arms, but like it's also because of like what it means to the club in terms of like its sustainability and like how it stacks up to modern grounds around
Exactly.
Europe, not even
Has
just in the
to
Premier
change.
League. It is outdated.
I'll be honest though, I need my football team improved first.
That's gotta
Facts,
be-
100%.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. It's
But
still,
all these things you've
it's-
spoken about
yeah,
are a reflection on that.
Yeah, it's still the
All the
the
footballing
grass
things that have happened.
is still
it
the
doesn't
same.
matter.
The pitch length is still the same. The ball is still the same
Yeah.
size.
The goal is the same.
The goal is the same size. I need my team to be better. They don't get twisted. I want that stuff to be done. That's why Qatar was the full dream. That's why
full dream.
it's everything that you could have. But then again, you don't know what they would have done on the football side as well.
Those guys have to change. Look at the players, that we weren't even in the conversation for because of the state of our football club.
Of course.
Jude Bellingham
Declan
came
Rice,
said, nah,
we
Declan
tried-
Rice,
I
Erling
remember,
Haaland.
I remember Paulo Dybala a few years ago. We
100%.
basically got everything sorted. He's still like, nah, I'm good.
Well,
bro.
I don't know, Prime Griezmann maybe.
Frankie
I don't
De
know.
Jong was
like
on
Frankie
his-
De Jong.
Frankie
did
De
not
Jong,
want to
yeah,
come
Like,
nowhere near
and
us.
then on top of that, look at the things that we have done in terms of what we have brought in, and like you lot know how I love Varane. Like he's got to go.
Yeah.
Like the Casemiro. There's no
You
longevity
have
in
a
that.
thousand examples of United buying these 30-year-old on one last contract. Like,
We
that's the only
chased
way to
Sancho
get
for
them,
2
yeah.
years,
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I as a fan was like, get him in the first year, just pay the 120. We're fans, we talk shit.
Yeah.
We got him in the second year and got him for 77. So you go, oh, you know what? Actually, 350 grand.
Yeah. That's
What's
For a
his
21
motivation?
21-year-old.
It's only going to go two
That's
ways.
absurd.
It's only going to go one way where he's amazing. So in 18 months,
He's on
2
800
years, you have to
grand.
put him on 600 bags.
Yeah.
Or this.
This is the Ed
We
Woodward
leave
era. bro.
no wriggle room
Yeah.
for anything.
And this is why I say Glazers have been whatever to the club, but that Ed Woodward, we
And
can
you know,
maybe
Ed Woodward
say
brokered the deal for them to come in the first place.
Exactly. Ed Woodward has so much blood in his hand. Yes, I do understand he did help us a lot commercially, but who cares?
That
I'm
was
a
his
football
job,
fan.
though.
Yeah, I'm a football fan. I don't give
By
a
the way,
crap.
we were also the biggest club commercially anyways before he came.
So,
it's not
but
like we were lacking.
like he did a good job on that side, but bro, honestly, some of the things that he done, the wages, the way he broke this club up in terms of the wage balance and the structure, it's crazy.
We got
But what
Pogba
Man United
twice
need
and
to
let him
do?
go for free.
What
Twice.
Man United, bro?
Twice.
And we spent like a record fee to get him back.
It's mad.
Then let him go for free. The pressing 50 million down the drain for Martial.
Bro,
It was.
Yeah.
It was
The thing
50
is,
million down the drain.
if we
We
Schweinsteiger.
got rid of Phil Jones on 100 bag a week that Ollie gave him a new deal only just this last year. Then we say, let's go get Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans, it's mad.
Hey, I never even thought about
Yeah,
that.
but-
That's nuts.
That's
you
on
know?
Ten Hag though. That's on Ten Hag though.
Yes. No, but
Ten Hag
no,
spoke to him in
but hear what,
January
though?
and said,
"Yeah, no,
brother,
but
next
here's the
season
thing,
I
though.
might have to cop you."
No, but here's the thing.
So
though.
let's
your
go.
phone on.
Cams,
Don't take that holiday.
Cams, hear me out. Hear me out. When we wanted to go buy a Todibo or whatever the new up and coming Varane, when we wanted to shot Harry Maguire, but his wages were so high, and he's going, the only way down from Man United, the only way is down from here. I ain't going West Ham yet. No, mate.
Yeah.
He gets injured all the time. I'm going to bide my time, mate.
Yeah.
And now he's laughing. It's because of the scenarios that we've created with them players to the point where Harry Maguire went, I've got 2 years left, mate.
And you know-
you got to pay me off.
would I
we
take
ain't got
a
peace for
wage
that.
cut?
So the
Yeah,
30 million from West Ham didn't materialize. Scott
Yeah.
McTominay, 30 million from West Ham. Or
I think we should have just accepted.
Do you know what I'm saying? So not only do we buy shit, when we want
the
to,
worst
when we
sellers.
have to
We're the
worst
sell,
sellers on
but
the
Dan
planet,
James is like
bro.
one of our record sells.
We're one of the worst sellers.
Daniel
in the-
James.
Yeah.
But
We're
it
one
also,
of the worst sellers in the
again
world.
comes down to the wages we pay our players. They're untouchable assets.
we can't get
They're
them out.
untouchable assets.
We
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
get them
It's
out.
been this case for a long time, but bro, I just think at the same time when you're talking about like the sales and you're talking about I lost my train of thought.
We was talking about the sales, the players.
You said something I can't remember. I lost it.
Because I'm basically saying we got rid of like
Yeah.
Phil Jones and look what we've got. And I'm saying the people who got the blood in their hands. So when I'm saying about the people who keep making them bad decisions over and over and over again, that's the key thing that must change. Or otherwise, none of it will. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good Bruno's form is or how good Rashford's form is. Essentially, when it's all said and done, of course, the decisions that the manager makes and his sign, he's got to take responsibility. But overall, if you're in a situation where a manager can't even move players on that he wants, or a manager can't bring in who he wants, or you've got players who are, let's be honest, what's the motivation when you're rewarding failure with £350,000 a week?
Yeah, go on.
It's insane.
But I actually think when I look at some of the players, and I think that aspect of I'm lucky to play for Man United is not there no more.
No way.
And now I don't know them. You know what I'm saying? I know a few players here and there, but I don't know majority of the Man United players. And I try not to, because I just try not to. And then, so I just think, like, when I'm looking at them on the pitch, though, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, do you feel lucky, or it's a payday? You know what I mean? It's a payday to be here. Does Maguire feel real lucky to be here? Does Rashford feel lucky to be here? Does Martial, does Bruno, do you guys feel lucky to be here? Or listen, we don't have to force everyone to feel like they're, at the end of the day, they were just talented enough to be footballers. It's their job, right? But let's be natural, bro. Let's be natural. You're playing in front of people and stuff. It's not the same as your 9 to 5 job. You know what I mean? So do you feel lucky to be here, bro? Even in privilege, I don't like the word privilege, because they earned it. Do you know what I mean? So
they earned being a professional footballer, but in the past, playing for Man United was a privilege. Let's keep it a bucket. This isn't playing for Wigan or playing for even Spurs. No disrespect to Spurs. Yeah. This is playing for the biggest club in the country.
Yeah,
but because of what it's become, that's lost.
100%.
It has become a burden, I think, for them now. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It becomes a thing. And listen, I know I've known a few who have deleted their Instagrams and deleted their Twitter. They don't have the Twitter app and so on. These are Man United players that I'm talking about right now, yeah? So it's one of them ones where, do they feel like, does it become a burden to play for this club? Do you know what I mean? Does it become a burden? And do you know what is when we're seeing this is through the young generation, as you mentioned. Haaland's like, I don't want that. I don't want them issues. Jude Bellingham, I don't want them issues. We wheeled Ferguson out to meet Jude Bellingham, and he said, "Nah, safe. Don't make a difference." You know what I'm saying? So
it's career suicide. Honestly, if I'm a young player and I have the choice of any team in the world to go to, if I'm Arda Güler, if I'm Jude Bellingham, unless, and this is what's kind of bought United time in the past, because United, they can't match the sporting ambition that other clubs can, but your social presence and your financial presence. So, okay, Real Madrid, you're playing for Real Madrid, but you won't be making 350 at 21 years old like Sancho will. But bar that, if I'm a young player and I'm actually like fully focused on my career and I have a good agent and a good family behind me, there is not a chance in hell that I'm choosing Manchester United over any other so-called elite club on the planet.
Club.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, we're talking a lot. Like, obviously, I know probably time's going, but I don't want to. But we haven't really mentioned Ten Hag enough in terms of on the pitch. What do you think was going on the pitch?
He needs to do more. I think that actually, with changes about to occur, it's going to give him a bit more breathing room, because you have to see how this transpires and what the plans are. Can he be flexible enough to merge in with it? Injuries have been a big part. I don't think anyone can say, when you lose your whole back line, this time last year we were praising Eric Ten Hag, saying what great season he's had for a first season. However, it is alarming.
What's your biggest Ten Hag issue?
My biggest Ten Hag
Remember, people,
issue,
disclaimer, we've spoken about everything.
Yeah, we have.
So there's no what about?
It's not been a Ten Hag slander show, because this is what they'll try and do.
Yeah,
so
it hasn't.
What's your biggest issue?
My biggest issue with Eric Ten Hag is I'm looking at the signings that he's made, and I'm scratching my head of, have they made us a better team? Do you see what I'm saying? That's
shake my hand.
I want to shake.
Like, I can look at some of the individuals, and I can quite like them. So Martinez, I think what he gives to how Ten Hag wants to play is essential, but he's gassed up. Like, he's not. So to a point where I thought he even bought into the butcher thing himself. He's trying to just do too much.
He did. It started the preseason and this season he was moving around.
And obviously, but clearly he was injured.
Okay,
so we'll give him the benefit of that. But I really like that signing. He's a transformative signing.
Højlund
completely changed what we do. Højlund is the first project striker that we've had for a while, where we can get our teeth into and say, let's build this guy
United
up.
needs to make more signings like that.
More signings like that. So I've got no problem with that. Eriksen, is a freebie at the time. You need to get a technical player in there, someone who can play a bit of football with both feet and be a bit calm.
Stopgap.
It's a stopgap.
It was just a stopgap, but it's a freebie. Casemiro, I'm like, stopgap.
But he had a good last season.
He was good last season, but there's no longevity in it. But
that's
again,
why it's a stopgap.
So basically, so then into this season, Onana, I've had my worries, but he's starting to calm down a little bit now, and I think he'll be okay.
He's a good goalkeeper. Let's be honest.
He's a good goalkeeper.
Fundamentals a bit weird.
His fundamentals will always be weird.
Yeah.
The same way how Dirk Nowitzki would shoot the ball up here. Larry Bird
hold on,
would,
we ain't comparing Andre Onana to Dirk Nowitzki.
No.
I'm not co-signing that.
I'm talking about mechanics of like your
saying.
technique can be way
yeah.
off, but you can be successful in a field. Just like the way Roger Federer has a backhand is not the same how flipping Andy Murray strikes a ball.
Yeah.
It's not the same how Nadal is. It's just different. But like you said, he can still be a top player. He can still be a top player.
I hear what you're
I'm
saying.
not saying.
Name some goats
I'm
around.
not
I ain't saying Onana's flabby wrist is not Roger
No.
Federer the way he strikes a tennis.
No, I'm not saying that.
Nah, I got you.
I am not
We hear you saying.
saying
We're
that.
just trolling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you got to make that clear.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
gonna say,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you're saying that he's going to be in the
Dirk.
Hall of Famer like Dirk
Yeah.
Nowitzki. I'm not saying that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that you're compared to other fundamentally sound people,
Yeah.
you can still be very effective in what you want to do.
Like we've seen successful teams with Andre Onana at the forefront of it.
Yeah.
In the Champions League final,
Yeah.
people weren't saying, I know that's one game and we go on about
Yeah.
it, but it showed that he can play to that level.
Yeah.
That means something. But to wrap up on that bit, like, yeah, I can look at the signings and individually, I quite like him. Well, I quite like him, apart from Anthony, I'm like, well, I don't see it. But like a lot of them, I'm like, okay. But like collectively of how it's knitted and has it made us better, I don't see it.
I'll give you my biggest issue
Yes.
with Erik ten Hag. It has to do with his signings, but for me, it has to do with the inconsistency in his footballing philosophy.
Yeah.
Like he came in, and we all thought of the way his Ajax team played, and that's why a lot of us.
Why do you think
including
that is
myself,
though?
Did he promise us that? This is one thing that
Or
I've
did we
actually.
put it in our
This
head
is
that-
one thing I've been
Do I
looking
need-
back
do I
at.
need-
Has he
do I need a
promised?
manager to promise me that? Or again, like any
That's
other
why you
manager
got
we
him.
would have hired, I would have looked at their body of work previously and said, okay, this is why we're hiring.
Nobody
him.
looked at Ten Hag when they hired him and said, I don't want you to do any of
But
that.
that's-
But
not
one
even
thing
my
is,
point.
what I would
Yeah.
say, I'll let you finish, bro. But one thing I would say is that, and I was saying it when we were doing United State of Mind, I was like, people need to listen to Ten Hag's pressers properly, right? Not once is he really talking about control, possession. He's talking about duels. Win the duels, win the 50-50s.
Transitions.
Winning, mentality. That's what he was talking about. And I was like, this guy's sounding a bit like a dog.
But-
Like, he's not really sounding like
But
a...
this is where,
Techie, yeah.
Yeah.
this
anyway.
is where the inconsistencies come in. Because, okay, yeah, he did say that. He said, I want my team to be the best transition team in world football. Why would you sign Anthony for 100 million then? Why would you sign Lisandro Martinez, who clearly struggles the higher up the pitch you kind of get him to kind of cover that ground? Why would Eriksen be like one of the four, and Casemiro as well too? So again, you're saying, oh, did he say that? But the signings he was making suggested that he wanted to be a team that controlled the football. He wanted to be a team that had full possession and dominated play. So it's like you're saying one thing, you're doing another.
I think he had identity crisis.
You look
Did,
100%. So that's
and
the
he's alluded
inconsistency.
to that.
And he's
Absolutely.
You know
So
what
the
I mean?
inconsistent, and then you look at the signings he's made in his second stint. Højlund is a transition player. Mason Mount is a player in transition. But then Onana is a player that suggests you want to build from the back. So my biggest concern with Erik ten Hag is like he doesn't know himself the way he wants his football team to primarily play. Like you look at all the best managers in the world. Okay, they're flexible and they can show you that they can play different ways, but their football team isn't almost divided into two sections of players. Pep's group of players is one group. Arteta's group of players is one group. Clubs, you know what a club player looks like. You know what a Pep player looks like. At this current moment, I'm confused
know.
myself on what an Erik ten Hag player looks like. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah,
of him.
I think I've got like two issues. There's the inconsistency on the pitch. You know what I mean about how Leah's touched on that. I'm not gonna go into that. But even we've mentioned the signings definitely, right? But even like the signings that I think we deem as good, I'm looking at it and I'm like, really okay. So Lisandro Martinez, right? I think he's good. I've said many times I think he's a box defender. I think surprisingly, because when we signed him, I thought he's gonna be front foot, and I was like, he's never gonna be good in his box, but he's very good in his box. So I'll give him that, right? But you look at the trend of defenders nowadays; they're athletic animals,
big, powerful.
So, and we're saying that Lisandro's gonna be this key, and he's completely opposite of what centre halves are. Now I'm gonna go to Saliba. I'm gonna go to Virgil's back on good form and stuff. These are man mountains.
But that's supposed to be the Varane.
Araujo, thank
when
you.
Varane
Militao,
leaves,
yeah.
or
Militao, Kim Min Jae,
That's-
whoever
that's
we
what-
want to
that's
talk
who he
about.
wanted in the summer, though.
But he wanted him alongside Lisandro. But what I'm saying, I think you need potentially both sides of it. These are man mountains, bro. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, these guys are imposed. And even the great Pep Guardiola realized this. Like, get a Kanji in. I need Ake. I need some soldiers up in there. And I'm looking at us and I'm like, yeah, we're calling a 5'8" guy.
It's a great
butcher.
point. And it's not just
Do you know what I
Lisandro,
mean?
right?
Like,
In general,
and it's not just him.
He has made our team in general a lot less physically imposing.
And
It's
then
true.
you look at
But
it,
he's
right?
asking for physicality.
But look, but
At the same time.
But flex, exactly. And now again, I'm talking about trends, right? the trends at the moment of defensive midfielders is to be good on the ball. We know that. Athletic, good on the ball. Casemiro is looking like his legs are a little bit going, and he's not the greatest on the ball. So then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just talking about the trends of football.
Yes. Amrabat
right now, you need your wingers. It's the Prem. You need your wingers to be dynamic, explosive, transitional. Yeah. They need to be able to do all that. And we signed Anthony, who was to keep the ball and did it. I'm very confused that the way the trends of football is going and the trends of Ten Hag signings are a bit confusing. Now, Onana, that matches where football is going. Well great. Højlund, great. But then there's just a little bit of a confusion. I think Mason Mount can. The problem with the Mason Mount, listen, everybody knows I like Mason Mount.
Same.
I have no issue with Mason Mount.
Same.
I have an issue with Mason Mount being our only centre midfield signing. Let me tell you that. I kept saying all summer, so people can go on my Twitter, 3 CMs, please. 3 CMs. Now I get it. We're not rich and stuff.
Well, you got Amrabat.
But
three good CMs, please.
Please, yeah. There we go. So silly signings like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
And I co-signed that as well, by the way. I was there at the World Cup and I loved him.
We have seen Mount be a part of a successful. We've seen Mount be part of a successful team. They won the Champions League, and he was a key part of it. I think Mount can still be a good signing. He's going to be at Man United for a long time. You can tell, but he should never have been our only signing, and that's why he's currently a bad signing. Yeah. Now, my other issue with Ten Hag, and you guys might not. I don't know if you agree with it or whatever.
Is it the ego thing of how he takes on players?
Not that. That kind of comes into it because I think he's I'm talking as a fan. I don't know about players. He's very uninspirational for me. I listen to you know him more actually because you go to his pressers, which is actually a great insight. Actually, I want to ask you. When I'm looking at his pressers, I'm like, you don't motivate me, bro. Like when I look at Arteta, even the Newcastle thing, he went crazy, but mate, you're standing in front. You know what I mean? When I look at Jose,
he's a different character.
Your question is, does Erik Ten Hag somebody that players want to go to war for?
Has he got that charisma, bro? That like, does he ooze that charisma? Like, this is gonna sound so harsh, yeah. I saw an acceptance speech as well that he got when he won.
Yeah. Football like, Northwest something.
Yeah, and maybe it might be a language thing.
He does have a language thing.
When I was even listening to that, I clicked off the video. This is my manager winning Northwest manager. Like, let me listen to your speech. And he was talking about, we're gonna keep trying, and I was just like,
he's an awkward character.
But I kind of want to add on to what you're saying, right? I actually agree with you, but this is my biggest like kind of thing with Ten Hag because I wanted him so badly as Man United manager, and to this day, I still believe that he's a very good coach. I am not going to turn on that.
Shit manager.
No, he's in my opinion he understands football. I think he's a good coach, and I believe that whether it works out at United or not, he'll go to another club and he'll have success. I have no doubt about that in my mind. But United at this current moment, even past the Glazers under Jim Ratcliffe too, they need more than just a football coach. They need somebody that can, like, again, transform the football club in their identity. And I think to do that, you need to be more than just a tactician. Yeah. You need to be good with humans. You need to be good. You need to be able to inspire. You need to be able to take control of all aspects of the football club. Like Klopp was at Liverpool, like Pep was at City, like Arteta may be doing at Arsenal, and like Ange even kind of gives me indications of that early on. I know it's very early
but
on.
Also, when he came from Ajax, but also, which one of my biggest... people used to get on to me when I was talking about Poch because it used to be Poch versus Ten Hag, and I was like, listen, I don't mind Poch. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's a good coach.
His charisma's a bit...
Yeah, but I still think he's a good coach. And I'm like, but the surroundings and the environment that Erik Ten Hag had at Ajax that made him thrive, Edwin van der Sar, Mark Overmars, Dennis Bergkamp, all these people who were in the forefront and just the Ajax way, that's not following him over the water to here. And you're getting into that now, and like you said, also, what we have to look at is the revolving door of all these managers can't be bad.
Yeah,
and this is why, like,
and listen, Jose had character.
Exactly,
it didn't work. LVG had character.
He was rolling on the floor saying, "You can't get any more character than that."
Yeah, I get. I'm not.
So my thing. This is where why some people may always think I give Ten Hag an easy ride. I'm not, because I will always, if you ask me like that, I will say the things that I think he needs to improve on: in-game management, substitutions. Starting lineups, you're always changing it at half time, means you're undermining yourself. What's going on? You don't know your best 11. All of that, I agree. But at what point do you have to stop and look back
100%
and say,
100%.
well, no. It can't be all these managers coming in.
Oh, we know this.
Which is the real reason.
Yeah,
I think you're right. You can get more out of this. But here's my thing.
Yeah.
If De Zerbi came here tomorrow, if Pep Guardiola came here tomorrow, right, they would get us playing a bit better football. Yeah. Then what's going to happen is at the end of the season, he's going to go, Richard Arnold, I need you to do this. I need you to get rid of him, and I need this. He's going to go to the scouting department and say, Who's the next young South American
Is
we've
Ten
got now?
Hag doing that? Is Ten Hag that character?
Maybe he isn't.
That's the thing.
Maybe he isn't.
That's what I'm saying.
If he was, he still ain't going to get
Yeah.
it from the top.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that like charisma is it, because LVG, as I said, and Thingy had charisma, right?
Yeah.
But I do think a making of a top manager, you do need that.
You do
like,
need it. You do
at
need
a
it.
top club, and this is why. And I was getting a lot of stick for it. Everyone ended up agreeing later. As soon as Graham Potter walked in at Chelsea, I said he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
I saw his press conferences. I said, this
true.
guy's
He's
not
happy
inspiring
to be there,
nobody.
but
And people are like,
100%.
oh, what? Bro, one of my my favorite things about a manager is how they dominate press conferences. Is how they are as people, right? A lot of people don't look at it because now we're in a tactical era of football. It's so
Matters, 'cause
important.
Pep's got
Bro,
both.
when I'm just talking to you and then you're just a footballer, there's no board or nothing. I need to be able
What
to
you like.
G you up.
Yeah.
I need to be able to be like, you know what? Yeah, I like that guy. I'm going to call my boy, yo, I like this guy.
But this is why some of the most, not average managers, but the managers go down folklore like a Harry Redknapp, or it's because they
of
had that.
Look, and I personally think that is why we're going to see now with Poch or whatever, but that is why I personally think Poch and Emery, who are two good managers, I think they struggled at the top clubs because they haven't got that. Look at me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Emery at PSG was looking all sad, and Arsenal. But now at
He
teams
feels
that's
he's just probably above Villa,
yes.
so
Now
he
at teams
can
like
bring them up to
Villarreal,
him.
Sevilla, Villa,
yeah.
he's the boy. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
the guy.
yeah.
But I think sack Ten Hag or whatever tomorrow. I hire Emery. He's gone
nothing
too.
different,
Because that's why I don't have them as elites.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The elites, I'm sorry, they have personality.
Yeah.
They have character and stuff. But maybe I'm hoping I'm not offending anyone by saying maybe it might be a language thing. I don't know. I hope it's not. But yeah, I don't know, because obviously I don't know how inspiring he was in Dutch to the Ajax. So I don't know.
Anyways, just in
I'm
general,
just saying
right?
what I'm
Even
saying.
if it was in English, like even if he was fluent in English, we're also looking from the outside. But this is just like observations that we're making.
Yeah.
And again, it's natural to do this as fans. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's the most important thing. to
And
remember.
lastly, just the whole last thing before taking out, you asked the question way earlier about can we get the most out of this team? The answer is yes, he can get more out of this team because, lads, we have an attack have only scored 1 goal this season.
Correct.
You can get more out of them.
Correct.
These players, we don't
not
rate
like they
them
had chances, by
highly.
the
We
way.
don't rate these players highly, but you can get more. We scored 13 goals. We conceded 16. We've got -3 goal difference. So just from an attacking point of view, of course we can do better. Of course he can get more out of this team. And it's up to him and the players, but him as a manager is going to be the one that we look at. How do you get more out of this attack? How are you going to get these guys firing? Because just last season, we gave all the praise for the Rashford revival. Now Rashford's the worst player ever, we're saying. And so we're going to have to find a way. How are you going to get Højlund opportunities to score more goals? Do you have to potentially sacrifice something and say, do you know what? Listen, I don't want the guy at the club, but do you have to say, Martial, go in a 2 with Højlund. Let's see what we can cook up here. How are we going to...
Do something.
What are we going to do? Because we've got 13 goals, lads. This ain't sustainable, bro.
Yeah. Listen, guys, long chat.
We could go on for
Therapy,
another,
man.
like-
Yeah, exactly. We could literally do this all day, but thanks for watching. Man United fans, get your views and comments in the boxes below. Let us know how you're feeling. Do you agree with what we've been talking about today? And actually rival fans as well. Rival fans who have been through this transition, who have seen their club
Liverpool
get
fans.
to the
I want
top.
to hear from the Liverpool fans. I really like Liverpool's journey, bro.
Yeah.
I want to hear from their fans. I want to hear from their
Liverpool fans get involved. Arsenal fans, you're now a competitive team. You went for a period of really questioning Arteta, and he was close. Let's not, like you said, they saved him. Emma Smith Rowe and them kind of guy. They you went for a period, so let us know.
Fans too, bro.
Yeah.
AC. Look, many clubs have gone through this. You know,
Exactly.
It's just our turn, bro.
Football's
It's just our
cyclical.
turn, bro.
Exactly. Anyway, take care, guys. We'll see you again soon. Another episode. Peace.
Peace.